going, guys?
It's going well. It's going well, considering that we are now in the midst of a pandemic.
Yeah, I heard it was a pandemic.
Yes.
That's special. So maybe we'll address that first.
Yes. This weekend, I addressed the parish at all the masses, going over some points that the bishop sent to us about the celebration of liturgy. The very important and the first thing, and this is being said by everybody, is if you're not feeling well, please stay home. Please stay home. You do not have to go to confession if you stay home from Mass because you're not feeling well. That is one of the exemptions from the obligation of participating in Mass.
Or if you're taking care of somebody who's ill.
And if you're taking care of somebody who's ill, please stay home.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. And then, of course, some of the others is we will not be using the chalices for the blood of Christ. We will only be receiving, the consecrated host. But please know that our theology has always taught that by receiving one element, you are receiving both body and blood. So you will still be receiving the fullness of the sacrament, even though we're not using the chalices. And the other important element is the sign of peace. We're asking people not to extend a handshake or a hug or a kiss during the sign of peace. But please know, if you're with your family, you do what is normal for your family. It's just that if you're not with your family and you're surrounded, or if somebody goes to give you a handshake and you're uncomfortable with that, you just give them a smile and a nod, and the person giving the handshake, just keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
And receiving the body on the hands.
In the hands.
And receive in the hands. I think it's very important. I know some people, out of devotion and the way they were raised, want to continue to receive on the tongue. The problem is most of our people who receive on the tongue do not stick their tongue out far enough, and even when you do, there is always that part of touching the tongue when you're putting the host into the person's mouth. And I think we need to take those steps. So please, as I said at Mass, our Lord Jesus Christ allowed the lepers to touch him. Folks, you can touch our Lord.
Anyway, what's worse than putting them in your mouth? I mean, your hands are your hands. He's going to go places.
And the other thing is always I'm choosing not to, even talk about that.
I'm just saying.
But also keep your hands clean. Wash your hands. Listen to your grandmother. Your grandmother used to say, "Wash your hands. Don't touch your face." Now the government is saying it, and all health officials are saying it. See, grandmas knew.
Grandmas know. Sure.
Okay.
One other thing: if you have a compromised immune system, and people, of certain ages, are being encouraged to not go out into public places very often, please take that into consideration too. Again, you're not, breaking the obligation for Mass if you are taking care of yourself in this way. So. Also,
beginning on Monday, our daily Masses are moving into the church.
Because
it's a larger space and people are not literally sitting on top of each other. I mean, it is Lent, our numbers have increased, and we have noticed some people haven't been at church. So we're wondering if maybe they're staying away because it is a confined space in our chapel. So by moving to the church, people will have their personal space, because I believe in Italy they're saying that there has to be so many
6 feet or something.
So many spaces, or space between individuals. They were asking people.
Are we observing that right now?
No, we're saying but we're all healthy. Physically healthy. We won't talk about
mentally.
Who can say? So we have St. Joseph's. It's Monsignor's favorite. Besides all the other things that are his favorite.
Yes, everything's my favorite.
That's right.
Anything that brings people together at a time when people are saying don't come together.
Stay away from me.
Okay.
Bread blessing?
Well, March 19th is the feast of St. Joseph. And at the masses in the morning, 7 and 9, we will have the blessing of blessed bread and distribute that blessed bread.
So it's Thursday.
It's Thursday, the 19th. Okay, and then on the 22nd, we will hold our St. Joseph's table. And the St. Joseph's table, it has an interesting history.
It does.
You did some research on
I did
that.
a little, yeah, so did you. You tell yours first.
Well, it basically comes from Sicily. It was...
Like all good things.
Okay. It basically comes from Sicily. We're ignoring the person sitting on my left.
As usual.
Okay, go there. Oh, like I said, the 2 planks of wood are in front of your office. You got to get your own nails.
Okay.
Why don't you
Plague.
go?
Well, you were talking about the
Well-
plague. I didn't come across that one.
Okay, there are a couple of stories, but in Sicily, at a time of plague, the people of a village made a promise to St. Joseph if they were spared of the plague, they would have this celebration in his honor. And that village was spared, and they began this gathering of family and friends to celebrate and give thanks to St. Joseph for his protection.
Yeah, and it's the same thing, but that there was also a famine involved in that, and that had a really good bean crop, which I guess was similar to, was it lima beans or whatever? What's the one that everybody makes that you put in your pocket?
Fava
beans, that's it. Organized with a little Chianti. Anyway, so they fava beans, and that crop saved them from starvation on top of everything else.
And they credited St. Joseph.
They did,
Yes.
because they prayed, they asked for his intercession, and again, what you just said about promising to have this feast as a result of it. But there's also a tradition that I discovered when I got here, that, people put a fava bean in their pocket, and that's supposed to mean like good fortune or
Really?
something.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, somebody handed me a bean and told me to stick it in my pocket. Maybe they
Okay.
were just being rude, I don't know. But that's what when I did the research, that's what I found out, was that it had to do with that.
Now, we did all this talking about St. Joseph's table, but I just received word that we have our limit, so we will not be taking, we will not be taking any more reservations.
Right.
Apologize for that, but it is going to be a fun time, and who knows, we might have to ask St. Joseph to continue to protect us
From the current plague, yeah.
From the current pandemic. Let's
Sure.
not call it a plague.
It's a plague.
because- No. It's
Bring
a
out your
plague.
dead.
Yes, I know.
It's a virus.
Yeah, virus, that's right.
Okay.
All right.
What else?
Well, speaking of illnesses, on March 20th, we have the Stations of the Cross every Friday. On March 20th, we're going to have a special Stations of the Cross that is, the prayers and the reflections are around the 12-step program and the recovery from addiction. And so our addiction recovery ministry has been working on writing them. They're coming out really, really nice. But we do encourage anyone, it's regular stations, everybody's welcome, but the theme is going to be about recovery. And again, we've said this 1,000 times on this video, that everybody is touched by addiction in one way or another, whether it's your own or somebody else's. And so, come and pray with us as we make the connection between the suffering of Christ and the suffering of, those of us who are struggling with the pain of addiction. Okay, and then the day of adoration, that's at 7 o'clock, by the way, 7 o'clock in the church. And then the day of adoration and reconciliation?
That is March 27th, and that is, this will be, I think, the 3rd or 4th year we've done this. We will begin Adoration of the Blessed Sacrament after the 9 o'clock Mass in church. It will continue throughout the day. I believe 12 noon we will have the praying of the Rosary, the Sorrowful Mysteries, and there will be priests available to hear confessions at that time. And the faithful are invited, not just from our parish, but from all parishes in our area, to come and participate by going to confession and spending some time before our Lord in the Blessed Sacrament. And I posted on my Facebook page, and I also received from one of our priests a video of in Italy the military helicopter was flying over parts of Italy, and they had both Our Lord in the monstrance and the statue of Our Lady of Fatima, asking for their intercession over places that have been hit particularly hard by the coronavirus. And I received another video about a priest going through his parish with the Blessed Sacrament, and fully vested and with the umbrellino behind, although the deacon was a little behind. He wasn't getting it over him. But so it is a time of prayer, and all prayer works.
And I saw that video too, and it was nice to see how people on the street, they stopped, those who were able to be on the street, people who were driving, they stopped their car, they came out of their own cars and they kneeled. It was really, there is faith in the middle of the struggles.
So, so it is a time of prayer, to pray for those who are sick, especially those who are very seriously sick, to pray for their families, and to pray for caregivers and medical professions who are on the front line of this. And I think it's time to not panic, but I also think it's time to not blame, and let's just care for one another.
And you said you were going to put out a sign-up sheet for people to sign up for Adoration throughout the day.
Yes.
So please look for that. Also, you will see for our Eucharistic ministers and lectors, there will be the sign-up sheets for Holy Week and Easter. So please sign up for Masses. We always have trouble covering the 1 o'clock. So anybody who's thinking about going, getting up late that day and wants to go to the 1, please sign up. Oh, and 3 of our regular lectors for the Easter Vigil have left the state. So we're gonna, I'm only the only one left at this point, so we need people to sign up for the Easter Vigil too. It's a great Mass. Is it long? Yeah, but it's beautiful.
Yes.
So please, sign up.
And we only do 6 of the 7 readings from the Old Testament.
Aren't there 8? We do 5.
From the Old Testament.
Oh, from the Old Testament.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, no, I meant there's 8 altogether.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
There's a lot.
there are a lot, but
It's
they're
beautiful.
great.
They are
Yeah,
beautiful.
and we're having baptisms and confirmations, and it's gonna be beautiful. So please sign up.
And we get to light a fire.
There's a fire. You start with fire. How cool is that? And then darkness.
And a
And
big
then
candle.
lightness.
And a big candle.
Yeah.
So,
Who's going to sing
Did we
the
get the new one?
Exalted this year?
Renee.
Renee, she's okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Did we get the new candle? Our old,
No.
our Paschal
No.
candle came broke.
Yeah.
It's saying really?
Yeah, it did.
Oh.
We better call about that. It's g- all right.
Let's get it
Anyway.
close. Anyway, we just had.
We ordered palm, right?
I don't know. I've spent more time looking at the news this past couple of weeks. But please continue to have a good life. I was just thinking of this.
What?
And sorry if it seems like we're a little disjointed.
Because we are.
But I was just thinking, not that God did this, and this is not necessarily God's work, but this virus has come at a very opportune time during Lent, because I think it's challenging us to reflect on where we're going to put our trust, and are we willing to help one another.
Actually, did you pray as you go this morning?
Yes,
It was about that.
prayer was very good.
Yeah.
It's a little app that some of us have, and put out by the Jesuits in the English province, and it was very powerful about where we put our trust, and are we willing to help one another.
That's right. And if you just want to do, think about that a little bit more, today's first reading from Jeremiah is all about that. So you can find that on the USCCB website, and it's just usccb.org. And then there's a little calendar, click on today's date, and you can find today's reading.
Okay, that's about it. We'll see you Sunday.
Maybe.
God bless.